Hello,
What's going
everyone.
on, family?
Hello, everyone.
How you
Welcome
doing?
to podcast number 9. I'm doing fine.
Number
How you
nine,
doing?
we ain't making the 10 yet?
No, we on number 9.
Okay, number 9, y'all. We coming along.
Yes.
It seems like we just started the other day.
We did.
Already on number 9.
We're on number 9 now, almost to that 10. And you know what it means when you go to number 10?
What it be?
It means it's in.
10 in his end? No. Oh, Lord. 10 in his end, y'all.
Okay, we are.
I am Grizzythaking, man, of Surviving Vegan.
And I am Arisha Shun. I am Surviving Vegan on Instagram. Make sure you follow me and follow Surviving Vegan _Grizzythaking. We have a quick webcast today, podcast today. It's only going to be about food pairing because so many people ask us over and over and over about how to pair food. So I thought it would be a great idea to do a quick little crash course.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. We putting our cups right here. I know y'all probably seen my little scratch on my table, y'all. My son came and scratched our table up.
Yes, for those listening to the podcast, we have a cute little table with our logo on it. And my son, who was 5, came and scratched it up. He said, forget your logo.
I don't know what he was doing. He was in here.
We got our cups to hide in the scratches.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's mom life, daddy life.
That's the transparency, y'all. Y'all know we keep it transparent around here.
1,000%. So let's talk about food pairing. Why is food pairing important? Why is it important? Why is it important? From your personal experience, what happens when you eat properly paired foods versus
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't never know what was proper paired and what was improper. I just thought food go in your body if the body breaks it down, and that's the end of it.
No. I mean, I thought that as well, but coming into learning new knowledge, I found out that we should pair our foods correctly so that it can help our body work harmoniously together with what we're eating. So many times we pair our food improperly. We have like 10 different types of food on one plate. Then we got potato salad with corn, with burgers, with french fries and all these things. And it causes a lot of stress on the body to have to break that food down. That's why we feel the itis and bloated. The itis is when you feel fatigue after you eating. Fatigue when you got to go to sleep. You got to lay down.
Now, for webcast or podcast purposes, it's the itis.
Itis, right.
No, it's not the itis, the itis.
What that mean?
The itis. The N-word
I don't know.
The N-word itis.
Oh, you're trying to say the black people stuff.
Yeah, that's how we say
it. The itis is not only just towards black people. Everybody get the itis. I'm not saying
that, but in our culture, that's what we call it.
Yeah, we call it the itis.
The N-word itis. That's what they say.
Oh, you say, okay.
That's how they say it, right?
But I only say itis, so I don't say N-word.
I got you the bougie.
I'm bougie. Classy, bougie. I'm not ratchet. Nope. Okay, back to meal pairing. I'm talking back to meal pairing. So the point that the reason why we meal pair is so that our body works harmoniously with our food. We should not be feeling bloated. Mm-hmm. We should not have gas. We shouldn't be experiencing constipation when we eat. Also, when we improperly pair our foods, it can change the actual shape of your colon. Okay, it can make your colon heavier. They call it prolapse, where it kind of like out of shape.
Prolapse. I don't want my colon to prolapse.
Exactly. So that's why we need to pair our food correctly and eat synergistically with the body.
Y'all want your colon to be prolapsed?
No. No. So yeah, properly pairing your food, you will feel a lot better. You won't have that heavy feeling. So let's talk about also, you won't gain weight. Well, I won't say you won't, but pairing your food correctly and eating certain type of way can cause you not to gain weight so fast. As people experience, like they'll reach out to me and they'll say, I've been vegan for 4 years and I've gained 20 pounds every year.
Listen, vegan does not mean that you healthy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you that. Vegan, especially what's going on now in the vegan world with all this processed vegan food, which we always talk about, that stops you from being healthy. They figure their way into our natural realm, y'all.
Exactly. They taking it over. So let's talk about eating food correctly so that you can avoid a lot of the digestive problems that people have, such as gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, weight gain, the itis, as you said. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about fruits. Can you tell us some of the categories for the fruits?
Okay, so you have acidic
fruits.
You have subacidic.
Mm-hmm.
You have sweet.
Right. And you have melons.
And you have melons.
And
Melons is its own category.
Yes, category as far as
honeydew. Honeydew is a melon.
All melons should be eaten with other melons.
Cantaloupe is a melon. Even though it don't have melon at the end of it, it's a melon. Cantaloupe, honeydew, watermelon.
Exactly. They have a lot of water. They have a vast amount of water content per serving. So they digest faster. Mm-hmm. You want to eat melons only with melons. Okay, then we have sweet fruit.
Sweet fruit such as dates, bananas, raisins.
Pretty much all dry fruits are sweet fruits.
And we talked about that before. Like dried fruits, when you dry fruit, it turns into sweet fruits because it does what now?
Because it removes the water content and it's mostly sucrose.
So it's not a fruit no more then. I mean, it's a fruit, but it turns into a sweet fruit. That's like
what?
I don't know. Like it's a little weird. Like it goes.
Well, you remove the water, it's gonna be mostly sugar content now.
Okay, so that's what
it makes it a sweet fruit.
It's more potent.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, dried fruits, dates, bananas are sweet fruits. You should only eat sweet fruits with sweet fruits. So melons with melons, sweet fruits with sweet fruits. Then we have subacidic fruits, which would be like pears, apples,
grapes.
Yep. You will eat subacidic fruits with themselves, or you can pair them with acidic fruits such as limes, pineapples, oranges, lemons, all those.
A lot of citrus fruit, pineapple, like say pineapple, orange.
Exactly, key limes, kiwi. They're all acidic fruits. And when we say acidic, people think that, oh my God, they're bad because they're gonna cause your body's pH to be unstable, but that's not true.
So sweet and subacidic cannot go together.
No.
Acidic and sweet cannot go together.
No.
Melons and subacidic
cannot go together. Subacidic can only go with
acidic. Yes.
You know, some people think that they shouldn't eat acidic fruits such as lemons and pineapples because of, following a certain type of diet, because they believe that because it's acidic in its natural state, it's going to have an acidic effect on the body. Correct. But that's totally different. Acid means a certain type of action in the body. So pineapple, even though it's acidic naturally, when you digest it, it acts in a way of alkalinity in the body as far as buffering acid from the blood. So that's just a little lesson on that. Just because it's an acidic pH in natural state does not mean it's harmful for you, okay? Versus like grains, overeating grains can be bad for you because they lower the blood acid level. It makes it more acidic.
Acid level.
Exactly, because it's
grains as in rice.
Exactly.
Oatmeal, that's a grain.
Yeah, so like for us, we eat a lot of carbs. We got to cut back on that. We got to put more we got to put more raw foods.
Yeah, we definitely have to up our raw. Our raw diet comes in when we're detoxing most of the time.
I mean, the good thing is we try to stick with detoxing every day. That's the good thing. So we do get a raw foods, but we do eat a lot of grains as well. Grains over time can cause you to be more acidic. So even if you're vegan and eating a lot of grains, even if you're alkaline and eating a lot of grains, 100% of your foods are carbohydrates. I don't care if you're eating off the savvy list, it still can make you acidic.
I think we gotten better because like most of our foods, like we got garbanzo bean flour, that's the actual bean.
But it's still carb though. Still considered it's carby. Yeah, okay, more starchy foods, grains can cause the blood.
Okay,
acid.
I see what you're saying. So the carb intake needs to balance out. Okay, understood. Yeah, we do eat a lot of carbs.
Yeah, we eat. Vegans have eat a lot of beans, so we just have to remember to get our alkalinity in as well. It has to be a polarity. So if we're gonna eat grains, 3 times a week, we got to make sure we eat, natural foods more often 4 times a week. So fruits, that's fruits.
I say whole foods.
Whole foods. Whole fruits and fruits. Nothing with a label on it.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Nothing
with a nutritional label.
The packages are the devil.
The packages are the devil. So yeah, fruits. Only eating with fruits. Don't be mixing fruits with spinach and putting grapes in your salads. And no, don't be doing that. Okay, you want to eat fruits only with fruits.
So let's talk about peanuts and stuff. Like, see, we got categories. You got fats and all these different categories that are part of the meal pairing chart. So
right.
How does nuts, because I know like a lot of people get salads, they put nuts on them.
Well, that's fine. You can eat. So nuts will be classified as like protein.
They put nuts in oatmeal too. Is that fine as well?
It's not
okay,
fine.
then why is that?
Well, I mean, actually, no, it's not fine because nuts are considered. It's tricky because you have to realize like nuts can be considered a protein, fat, and carbohydrate.
Exactly.
So it's not like, oh, nuts are only protein. It can be mixed with it, but you wouldn't put like a cup of nuts and then a cup of oatmeal because it's a lot. It's too much. It's overbearing. Unless that's going to be your carb intake for the day. That's going to be a carb intake for the day, but you can't be eating like that.
So we understand that. Can we make a logical determination that every fruit, vegetable, bean, whatever has the nutritional value. So it's some portion of it that might be carbs, some portion might be fats. Mm-hmm. What gives it that all for all, like, oh, this is a carb or this is a fat?
Well, you have some vegetables that are more starchy, like even though a zucchini might contain starch, it's less starchy than it's a low starch vegetable. For example, like I said, sweet potato would be a more starchy vegetable than a zucchini because of the starch intake, the carbs in the actual vegetable. So you don't kind of like overwhelm yourself like, oh my God, is peanuts only a protein? It contains all three, carbs, protein, and fat. So you have to, you get into portion sizes a little bit, because you can say maybe 1 cup of peanuts has, let's say, 7 grams of protein and have 40 grams of carbs and 5 grams of fat. I would consider that carbohydrate because it has mostly carbs in it.
So then you put that with other carbs?
Yeah, let's talk about pairing other foods. So you have carbs, proteins, fats, and you have low starch, non-starch vegetables, dark leafy greens. Proteins and carbs are poor pairings.
Protein and carbs
are poor pairings when you pair them together.
But then, so that's like, it's like, okay, so if this peanut has all of these in there.
But see, you probably wouldn't put, what are you trying to do when you make the dish? Are you making a high protein dish or are you making a high carb dish? If I'm making a high protein dish and the peanuts have more carbs than protein, I wouldn't put that in my high carb.
Understood.
High protein.
So the higher content will make the deciding factor of where you categorize it.
Most of the time.
Okay.
Most of the time. But if you eat in a meal that has all three, like let's say you're eating something that has 10 grams protein, 10 grams fat, 10 grams carbohydrates, that kind of is neutral. So you wouldn't want it, with your sides, you're going to figure out what you're going to use as your sides. Are you going to go with the carbs or are you going to go with protein as your side? You know what I'm saying? Okay. You don't want to have, a whole bunch of just carbohydrates. First of all, you don't want to have more than 4 different types of foods on one plate. That's ideally. Okay. So if you got beans, rice, and spinach.
Like beans are high in everything. Has carbs.
So if you get in a cup of beans, you don't need a cup of rice because you gonna say that's gonna make you bigger.
But that's all beans, rice and beans.
Yeah, that's fine. But are you gonna have more rice or are you gonna have more beans? Rice probably has more carbs than beans. So is it a carb meal or is it a protein meal? If I'm eating 2 cups of rice, then I'm gonna eat a half a cup of beans because it's a carb meal. But if I'm eating 2 cups of beans, I can eat a half a cup of rice because it's probably mostly protein. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So you like, that's advanced level, but if you remember just the basic fundamental principles, carbs, protein, fats, when you put carb and protein together, that's a poor pairing. It's the best ideal. You could say, yeah, carbs are in beans and all those things, and I can eat it with rice, but the best pairing would be to eat beans with salad or something like that.
The best parent eat beans with salad
because it's a low starch vegetable. It's going to make your body actually respond better versus eating it with rice, although it might taste better. Your body is going to respond better with it with greens. So carbs and proteins are a poor pairing. So a better pairing would be carbs with low starch, non-starch vegetable, dark leafy greens. That's a better pairing. Same thing with protein. Protein and carbs are bad pairing, but when you eat protein with low starch, non-starch vegetables, dark leafy greens, that's a good pairing. So,
well, for me, that definitely shows how intelligent the body is. I think we neglect that throughout our life. I don't think we ain't really taught about the body
and digestion.
Yeah, that's
we're not taught about that.
People don't realize that's like one of the leading causes of diseases in the body. Gastrointestinal diseases. The illness starts in the gut, and your colon is attached to the gastrointestinal system. Like, it's a whole thing from your esophagus to your gut to your colon. All your liver, everything is attached together, and that builds the gastrointestinal system, and that's where the disease all starts at. That's why they say.
Yeah, because everything you put in your body, if you put disease in your body, it passes through all those organs. Doesn't matter if it's in the form of blood, because the food ultimately gets in your blood. Doesn't matter if it's coming and processing the food in the stomach and in the colon. So we definitely have to be careful with what we're doing. And even if you're eating meat, some people might say, oh, when I say protein, I'm not talking about animal flesh. I'm talking about plant-based proteins such as legumes, chickpeas, bean sprouts.
It just bothers me. I'm sorry not to cut you off, but it bothers me because we have to make a very precise, how can I say it, like split between plant protein and animal protein. People don't realize, and they do realize, that animals get the protein from the other animals that eat grass. They be sitting out there.
They eating actual plants.
Or they eating actual plants. So they be like, oh, you can't get protein from plants. So how you get like, are you serious? How do you think the flesh eating animals or the animals that graze, the cows, for instance, they get the only way they get protein is from the earth, from the land. They don't get protein from nowhere else. So if you're skipping the part of actually eating from the land and eating
from the flesh.
Right. To get
so
the protein.
Flesh should be eaten at least 2 hours before or after anything else.
Oh, we not advocating.
Yeah, we not advocating for it. But if you're doing it,
give you
the real.
The real.
Exactly.
We don't advocate at all. That is our disclaimer. No advocating
for meat. Right. I was giving examples. Examples of protein, plant-based protein would be bean sprouts, beans, legumes, chickpeas, lentils, all that good stuff. And then examples of carbs would be brown rice, wild rice, quinoa, which is actually a seed, but it's carb. What else? Nuts, seeds, other beans. I was doing carbs. Brown rice. The kids just walked in, so we got a little distracted.
Hello.
Hey, y'all. So examples of carbs. Brown rice, wild rice, sweet potato, white potato, all those potatoes are carbs, butternut squash. And then we have low-starch, non-starch vegetables, which are zucchini. We have bell peppers, onions, asparagus, cauliflower, broccoli, low carbs vegetables. And then we have fats, which is like avocado, chia seeds. All of those should either be eaten by themselves or with dark leafy greens only.
You have a beautiful mind.
Thank you so much. You have
a beautiful mind. You just have so much in there.
Oh,
you gained a lot of knowledge.
I did. Spent some time.
Yeah.
And when I was reading this stuff, I was like, oh my God, that's why I be.
You just don't know, man. You just don't know until somebody tell you. And then even when they tell you, it's like, what? Like,
I've been eating all like this all my life.
I'm not changing this.
But I'm telling you, do notice a difference. Like, for example, I didn't know that you shouldn't eat and drink at the same time. That makes you feel bloated.
So which it does.
So now I know I separate consumption of solid foods and liquids by at least 30 minutes. But when I'm real thirsty, and I'm like, man, forget it. I'm just gonna drink it. I'll deal with it later.
You feel it.
I feel it when I eat food and I'm drinking at the same time. That's a lot of the issues we think we have, from bloating to weight gain to gas. That's really just our body speaking to us and letting us know that we're not eating properly. So we've been trained to look away from that, or just eat some Tums or eat some Pepto-Bismol and feel better. No.
Never. I don't think I ever had a Tum. Pepto-Bismol, I think I had maybe once or twice in my life. That stuff was disgusting.
Nasty. It's nasty. It's like chalk.
I don't know.
Bubblegum chalk
in my body.
And that's to avoid those things, to avoid having to take laxatives and make sure our body's working properly. We of course have to feed it, but we have to feed it properly. The body has a divine system and way of working. We have to learn it, not make the body do what we want to. Not make the body do what we want it to do. We live in this vessel. We have this body. The Most High granted this to us for a period of time. Why don't we know anything about it? We don't know how to make the thing run. We be looking crazy.
Wow, that's amazing.
We don't know.
We ain't never talk about that. You just came up with a new topic for us.
Why you living in your body and you don't know how to work it? Topic, episode number 10. Episode number 10. Well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This was a quick crash course on the food pairing. Hopefully it was helpful. Shout out to everybody that's been commenting on YouTube, Surviving Vegan TV YouTube channel. Y'all been saying the episodes are getting better.
Shout out to Drizzy.
Shout out to Dre. He been doing thumbnails. He been doing fade in, fade out.
That's our
type
podcast
of stuff.
brother. Podcast brother.
Of course, you can follow us on Instagram at IAmSurvivingVegan at @SurvivingVegan_Grizzythaking. And I got it tonight. I got it.
Excuse me, y'all.
Make sure you check out our podcast, Pound I Am Surviving Vegan podcast on Apple, on iCloud, on Spotify, all of that goodness, greatness.
And check us everywhere. Anywhere you go, just look. I Am Surviving Vegan here.
Yes.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. Peace, love, and light, family. We love y'all.
You,
Talk to you
soon. Thank y'all so much.